and welcome to another episode of Mommy Needs a Break. It is a podcast for new moms who don't have it all together because we don't have it all together, and that is A-OK. My name is Megan Thomas at Meg Scoop everywhere.
And I'm Marisa Johnson, and she is Marisa J. Make sure to follow Mommy Needs a Break at MNEB Podcast on all platforms. You can check out our website, mnebpodcast.com, and join our Patreon for exclusive footage, giveaways. It's just a really great time in there. So make sure to join us on that. Meg, who do we have today?
Okay, now today's episode is action-packed. We're talking about booger-eating children. We're talking about the amazing products from Alaffia, including a special discount code. But first, you see our guest today. We have a daddy guest. He's a father, founder of Alaffia, and king of Wakanda. I think that last part in there. Give it up for Olowo-n'djo Tchala. How are you today, Olowo-n'djo?
I'm blessed. I feel quite blessed. I do.
I was going to ask, when Black Panther came out, were you like happy that everybody was like, hey, Wakanda, T'Challa, or were you just annoyed?
No, not at all. I think people didn't even realize that it's actually a real name of somebody that comes from West Africa. So it was quite interesting because I went with my daughters to watch when, at the time the cinemas were open. And it was really interesting because we got all dressed up and have our traditional outfits on, and tell people that my actual name is T'Challa. But afterward, though, what is interesting is at the airport. So I fly quite a bit, and every time people said, "Did you change your name after the movie?" I said, "No, that's how I was born."
So this is a real African name, y'all.
Yes. Shows how much we know.
Yes.
Right.
So we actually got the pleasure of meeting you at the Honey Pot Alaffia dinner in Atlanta. And it's so crazy how things come full circle because me and Megan both use your products.
Thank you.
And we were trying to, find a connection, like, oh, we want to work with them. And then we met you at this dinner and we were
Thank you.
Full circle. So so happy you're here.
Thank you.
Beautiful dinner.
Yes, that was a great dinner. And even like, and your products, I first heard about your products maybe like, I want to say like probably 10 years ago at this conference. It was like a healthy like expo for body products, food, different things. And I remember seeing it and I was like, oh, this is like the only like African-esque product at this whole entire expo.
Yeah.
And I remember I took some of the, it was like sample lotions.
Yeah, a little sample lotion.
Yeah, and the lady was like, you could just take a few. So I took like 5. I'm not going to lie. I took like 5 of them.
You're one of those people that go to trade shows and they come out with the bag.
I took like 5, thought I used them all, and I kid you not, on my last trip out, the last trip I took, in my toiletry bag, I found the last one.
Hilarious.
From like 10 years ago. And I still used it, and it was still good. I'm just going
That's good. That's a living experiment to make sure that the product is good.
Right. Yes, shelf life.
So I'm here to tell you, it still works. I didn't have no allergic reaction, so it works. All right. So for all of you watching and listening, we have a special discount code you can use on the Alaffia website, but we're going to give that to you at the end of the show. So don't go anywhere. First, what do we have, Marisa?
First, we have an Aint No Shame. It's our shameful mommy segment or daddy segment where we express our shameful parenting moments, but we don't actually shame each other. So today, oh goodness. So I have a 3-year-old and an 8-month-old. And for the longest time, my 3-month-old would pick her nose and eat her boogers. And I was just like, why are you doing that? This is like awful. And she does it all the time. She does it when no one's looking. Like she just does it. And now my 8-month-old is doing it. She literally will sit there and watch her big sister do it. And so both my kids now pick their nose and eat their boogers. And like they do it in public. They do it around like people, family. And my mom is like, why do you let her do that? And the other day I was telling Megan and she was like, no, it's actually healthy for them. Like it's good.
It is. It is. I'm telling y'all. I don't know if you heard this, Olowo-n'djo. I saw a study about it that eating your boogers is actually something we're supposed to do because in your nose there's like like when you breathe all the impurities and everything. So your boogers have all these little impurities, a little some nasty stuff. But when you eat it, your body builds up the antibodies to fight off sicknesses. And I was like, oh. So we're supposed to, and like allergies and stuff, all that stuff is on your boogers. So you're supposed to be like less allergic to like pollen changes and everything if you eat your boogers. So eat your
I didn't
boogers.
know. So I
So
I'm
that's my
not
ain't no
I'm
shame.
not going to tell you, in the air that I would try, but you know what I'm thinking. Oh, well, these days with what's going on around the
COVID.
world, we need all the immune that we can get wherever it comes from, right?
Right.
Right. So
So we might as well.
that's my shameful parenting moment.
Alonja, you have two daughters. How old are they?
I have a 18 years old and a 16, and the
Oh
16 is
wow.
actually sitting right across from me.
Hi,
Hi.
16-year-old in the background.
She's studying for
Good.
because of homeschool now. Yeah, they're a
So
little older.
tell. So yeah, I know they're older. So you have to give us some shameful moments that you've had as a father.
Oh my! I gotta tell you, I got quite a bit. We're gonna be here all day. I don't know, I don't know if these are shameful moment or just part of living. When the girls, when they're growing up, I was very strict. Like we cannot eat junk food, right? We can't.
Mm,
We just we're not gonna go to any junk. That's just we don't do that. That's not what we do. We gotta eat healthy and we have to eat at home. And I think now, yeah, it's like, oh, it's okay if you do. So I don't know if it's not okay, but it's not it's part of it's something that they do now because they're older. And now drive them when I to go.
You drive them to the unhealthy place.
Yeah, it is a little shameful when I look. I mean, to me, it feels shameful compared to the way I used to be about it. But of course, health is still matters, but yeah, it's
everything in moderation. At some point, you gotta give them a little candy, just a little, not
I
too
feel like
much.
I'm like that. Oh my gosh, that's me. I'm so strict with my kids eating.
yeah, yeah. There's turned a lot of different moment, but we're good.
Yes, we're good. Okay, well, let's talk about you. Your story is so inspiring to me. So, just to give our listeners and our viewers a little background, I know you're from the country of Togo, West Africa. And so I read in your bio that you shared a room with your mother and your seven siblings. You dropped out of school after the 6th grade. And then, when you got older, you moved to the US with your wife in 1998. You learned English, you went to school, you graduated college. And like just hearing your progression from your beginnings to where you are now, what do you think the most important lesson is that you learned from your early journey?
I think to this day, not only what I learned, but what I embody, who I am, and what I end up dedicating my life to, my adult life now. It really comes to from my mother, Ina Agbanga, and through her, I learned what it meant to have humility, to see the pain in others, and I also learned the true roughness and challenges that our women go through in West Africa, right? Because we'll go to farm, work all day, and on the way back, my mother would still carry all the wood on her head and still have another baby on her back, and we'll get home,
Wow.
and then we
Wow.
have to make dinner, and the next day she's cooking to go sell somewhere, so we'll go back on the farm again, and I was quite close to her, so I got to really witness the true how much a woman have to carry, right, to make a family function in our societies in Togo. But if I was to single something out, is really the importance of cultural heritage that I feel that I acquired from her as well. She made sure that we understand and speak our native language. She made sure that when we eat in a clay pot. And if you're not well, she take you to the grandpa and use the traditional medicine for healing. And it really come down to her making sure that we understand what who we are, that we understand and all the different ceremonies that the village does. She made sure that we participate. So I and that still stayed with me today. I mean, everything that I do, my colors, everything that even Alaffia does, the foundation of it really goes back to how do we celebrate our cultural heritage. Um, but I think she also really, I learned on about giving and sharing, that the community first. These are women that didn't have very much, and there's a story that I always like to share. We with eight. I have two brothers. I'm about 6'4", and I have two brothers that are bigger than me.
Wow.
And so we eat a lot, right? And being, being the young boys that we were, but my mother will she always take our food and share with others that don't have. And there are times where, because we grew up in a border town between Togo and Benin, and lots of people, indentured workers, mostly women actually, will be leaving the villages in Togo, have to go through Benin, and then end up in Nigeria to go look for work. And as you can imagine, the type of roads that we have in West Africa, their cars, their trucks, things break down. And she will always take what we have to give the essential to the strangers. And I think again, even today in my adult life, I that's what I see in the world is about sharing, put the community first.
Hmm, that's beautiful.
That is big, yeah.
So why did you start Alafia, and how did you come up with the name, and how does your upbringing, tie in with the brand?
Yeah. So why Alaffia? First, I see myself as somehow you can say the calling or
Hmm.
wanting to serve. When I came to the state, as you said, Meg, sixth grade education, going to the university. You at one point you see what you see home. You cannot not see your home. So stay in America and not do anything that involve home somehow feels to me some type of a moral betray of the people, because I went through that extreme suffering of living in Togo, and I think just being in the U.S. and not trying to do something that is related to Togo was not quite settling to me. But so I always wanted to do something somehow that would tie me back home. The Alafia came about because it's bigger than home, right? When I came to US, I began to really understand, well, how is it that we have communities in America, in Europe, and other places where that better living standards. But yet, when I was grew up in Togo, we have all these resources. Why are we poor? Why do I have to drop out of school when we have all these resources and all the communities are consuming our resources? They're better off. So somehow something's not going back into our communities.
Right.
uh, and what I call economic injustice. So I felt the need for some type of economic justice with the trade of African resources, and I also felt that and I'll answer your question, but these different things that run my mind, they still run my mind today. That somehow how we, West African or African, how we're going to get out of poverty. We haven't even talked about the gender inequalities yet.
Yeah.
If we don't participate in mobilizing our own resources, if we leave our resources at to others to control, then we're not controlling our own destiny. So I link to me the ethical trade of our resources to the poverty that we face, which obviously leads to gender inequalities. And lastly, I felt that a woman like my mother is the woman that I would say I respect and worship the most in
Yeah.
my life. Why is it that her cannot get a job simply because She may not be able to read in English or in French, languages that are not even our language. But yet she has a tremendous amount of skills. She raised me. She knows how to raise a family and knows how to feed a family, knows how to traditionally and medicinally care for a family and the whole community. That we need to have a place where women like my mother can share their skills with the world. Because I bring about dignity, and because if you go to Alaffia cooperative today, where we're making all the share butters, when they ask the woman, say, "What's the best thing that you like or the most you like about Alaffia?" They're not going to tell you, "Oh, now I have money." They can tell you, "I have a sense of dignity and self-worthness now. I can see myself because I can stand on my own." So I just thought that we needed to create a place where women like my mother and my sisters, for that matter, can have a place to share their skills. So and so when you put all of that together, then what can you do then? And looking at traditional ways of life in Togo, I felt that creating a place to make shea butter, that's what we did growing up in the traditional setting, could be something that could be very, very beneficial to us. But also, I was looking for money, right? I'm looking for money to do things that, again, could prevent other children from dropping out of school like I did. And I didn't want to go beg for that money. I want to mobilize our resources, generate money to invest in the future of our society. So at the end of the day, why start life here is to have something that we can be proud and pride into what we have, and particularly for our women in the area where I come from, because we're 98% workforce of women
That's
in Togo.
amazing.
So that, and just at the end of the day, just want to serve the world, really.
Yeah. I think it's interesting sorry, Megan.
No, no, go
It's
ahead.
interesting how you talk about your country and taking back the resources that other people have profited on, and
Yep.
creating something for your community, and how we struggle with that in America for our own communities, in the African American communities, like recycling the dollar and working with each other and trying to build with each other. Like, it's for some reason it hasn't clicked, and we're talking about it so much these days now again, and trying to find a way, like, to actually make it successful. So it's great to hear you say that, and have so much pride in your country and bringing something back, because there's so many different brands of shea butter, and I'm sure they're not black owned, and I'm sure, you know all these other companies have benefit from the backs of Africans, in your country, but yet we still haven't found a way to do that here. So I think that's really interesting.
Well, because I think it's really important, truly, to reduce the pain that we have in our collective communities, both in our African American communities here and in Africa, because
Right.
when you don't try to keep the dollars within the community, or the resources to benefit the community, then the community will always be looking elsewhere, and you cannot build and sustain the communities. And I think it really comes down to only the community that understand her pain can define the solution for the
Right.
Yeah.
community. It
Right.
doesn't matter how much other communities may think we want to lend hand, but we understand our pain, and we need to come up with a solution of our own. But I also
Right.
think those things take time. They take time, and I just have hope that somehow things will rise up, and our communities will get better, and our young people today can see the importance of supporting our community and supporting ourselves and benefiting from our resources and putting the money that even if we generate it elsewhere back into our community. I think that's another key,
Right.
is how do we,
Right.
Yeah.
those of us that have obtained wealth in one way or another, how do we reinvest that back in the community? Not just giving to a community or do a community service, but really how do that turn into an economic engine for the
Right.
community? And that's what I'm trying to do.
You're doing a
That's
great job.
Yes, you are. You're doing very well. Especially, because I know traditionally in Africa, African men especially, it's more of a patriarchal society. So, things happen to favor men. Men are in charge. They're the one who make the money. They make the decision. So it's very forward thinking of you, um, as an African man, to go, hey, guess what? I want to empower women, especially because your upbringing. Tell us about some of the initiatives that Alaffia has to empower these women.
Thank you. And I just wanted to you know, our communities, we have a lot in the history. We'll look at West Africa. Um, before colonialism, right? Even when you look at our societies, we have, I would say, very just societies in some ways. If you look at Benin, for instance, they call it Dahomey Kingdom right next to Togo. The army was woman army. The generals were women. They, with the colonialism, I'm not pointing fingers or blame. That's not the point. The fact is there has been a dose of foreign culture into some of our culture, and some of those impact in the society, religions, and so much so forth that come on. There's been a change. There was a bit also an introduction of a different economic system. Right? You take Togo, for instance. Togo was colonized by German and then the French. Well, our economic system, even our literature, is no longer Togolese. Now we have a French or German literature. And I can tell you there's a lot of inequalities within the Western society, right? So, and when you mix that with poverty, it doesn't make things right. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I have hope that in our communities in West Africa, things will equalize and get better. But we have to get there. We understand where we come from. We have to get there, and we have to. And I think first what I'm trying to do and what we must do is to ensure that our women have equal economic opportunity. Because right now, as I mentioned earlier, I even use my mother, we don't. And just like you said, we tend to favor men, and men do govern almost everything. But the bottom line really comes down to, does that make us better off? Absolutely not. That's what we need to be looking at. We're not better off. Our children are not better off. So how do we want our children to be better off? The type of a community that we want to live, we don't have a choice, really. It's not even about moral obligation. It's just what makes sense for the community to have our women have that direct economic opportunity. So for Alaffia, back to your question, I tend to wander everywhere. So the first part really is about providing that economic opportunity, which we do, and then really that's that's just the first step. The most important step is about future, and I think that's what we have been lacking. Is that what do we do now for our future, so that we don't even have to be talking about gender equality. I hope that we can have a world where we don't have to talk about that, where it just is. So that investment, what Lafayette does, is to invest in what I call the drivers of a society, which is education and maternal health. And I'll come to each one of those areas, and also environment. Those are the driver of society. So when you look, what does Alaffia does within the maternal health, it's really about ensuring that our women can have safe birth. Right now, in the northern part of Togo, 1 in 16 women is likely to die simply by giving birth. And those numbers are similar to the numbers in the U.S. back in 1700. So it just doesn't make sense in today's world. And the reason why it is important for us to do that, and up to this day, we have funded over 6,000 births. It's important in the sense that it helps us to reduce poverty. When we lose a mother trying to give a birth, then the other siblings are likely to drop out of school. When they drop out of school, the cycle of poverty continues. So if we want our children to stay in school, we need to make sure that our mothers don't die. That's really why Lafayette obviously is a moral thing to do. And to be honest with you, I have lost sisters growing up because of that. And you can't help but to see that pains your heart. And for Alaffia too, within the maternal health, we participate in FGM, the prevention of FGM, female genital mutilation. This is something that our community still practice that I don't think is the right thing to do. And so we have to tackle all aspects that must be attacked and trying to resolve for. Additionally, when it comes to education, in Togo, 40% of our young girls will drop out by reaching secondary school in the countryside. Again, how do we get out of poverty when half of our girls are going to drop out of school? And all of those dropouts can be prevented. So what we do is collect bicycles here in the Pacific Northwest, from California to Oregon to the state of Washington, and Alaffia will pay for the shipping of those bicycles to Togo. And now we have nearly 10,000 bicycles that are primarily given to young girls in Togo.
Hey,
Wow.
that's good.
And you will see when you give a bicycle to a young lady, instead of 40% dropout rate, now we have 95% retention in school simply by providing a form of transportation. But you can imagine if you have to walk 5 miles or 10 miles to school. Even I did it. You don't go to school. You sit there in the hot sun and you come home early. You don't learn. So the bicycle goes a long way. And just in addition to providing bicycles for education, we build schools. We build kindergarten, and we also build grade schools. And now we have about 15 schools that Alaffia has constructed within the northern Togo. And with the environment, we plant trees. We have over 80,000 trees that we have planted. And 80,000 trees seems little, but it is important because it creates a conversation about climate changes in our community, about the destruction of forests in our community, because we need our topsoil in order to grow food. When you cut all the trees down, you lose the nutrients from the erosion, from the rain. And if you don't have food, they have famine. If you have a famine, you cannot grow. You cannot grow your brain. You cannot grow to be able to go to school. So the environment to me is tied directly into the food security, which is necessary. So it goes on, but those are the areas that we feel, and for the last 17 years, Alaffia has invested and continue to invest in.
Wow, you guys are really getting to the root of the issues. Alaffia, you said you guys employ women. You guys, I read that you employ around 12,000 women in 160 villages between Togo and Ghana. What kind of jobs do these women do at Alaffia? Why are you laughing? Did I say it wrong?
No, because I'm trying to because they do everything, right? They do everything, and they from the management. So maybe one thing I can clarify quickly is the half of Alaffia products are made in West Africa. So let's say we take a shea nuts, we'll make it down to shea butter, and take the shea butter and make it into black soap. And that soap then will come to Olympia, Washington, the state of Washington, where we have our own facility, do research and development, and then we'll make it into a finished product, either body washes or shampoo, and so on and so forth. So the other half is done within Ghana and Togo. So what our women do then, in some ways, the management of logistics, right? Where you think of a typical enterprise, you have managers, but the real bulk of it is using our traditional methods to either make shea butter, make coconut oil, moringa oil, baobab oil. So that's primarily what we do there, and of course making the soaps, the black soaps.
I love the black soaps.
I love these products. I always love these products, but now that I know the backstory and the amount of good that you do in Africa with the proceeds, I'm about to start using you guys for everything. Okay, people are gonna start getting gifts, Alaffia gifts for me. Everything. So, we were mentioning some of the products you guys have, anything from like hair care, body care, even like children care. How did you come up with the variety of product lines?
So it's one thing to have a mission or moral duty, but in order to achieve that, you have to create a product that's relevant to people who are going to give you money to fund that moral duty. So for we look here in America, there's areas that I feel that was lacking in products that are ethical and they're clean. Uh, so that our children's product, the bubble bath, the body wash, and so on and so forth. There we go, the cream. You got it all. See, you got the bubble bath. Thank you.
We got everything.
Thank you. You got everything. So that's one area. But also is looking again. This is about what the people need. Let's say not everybody is going to know the ethics or the Alaffia mission, but they need a product at affordable price and a product that is healthy, is clean for them.
Yeah.
Right.
So we look at that, and for again, like I said earlier, having a children product or baby product is important for us. I mean, after all, everything that we do is about mothers.
Right.
It's about girls. And also having shampoo and conditioners. What do people need? We know that shea butter is used for hair. You know, shea trees only grow in the savannah of West Africa, nowhere else on the entire planet.
Wow.
And that those are the things that we use in our hairs for texture and so on for thousands of years. So it only makes sense that we will have, if you look at our line from beautiful curls, particularly focus on curly hair and texture
I
hair.
used some today.
Oh,
I used some today, guys.
I didn't want to
I
ask
used some
because
today. I did.
I think Marisa can be our model for beautiful curls.
Oh yes, use her. She's beautiful. Use her.
It is. She really is. So it's looking what is relevant to people who will use the product and making sure that the product will work for them. But
Mhm.
also is really looking what are the ingredients that we have that we know are effective within the West Africa that can be associated with the particular formula. That's why we end up with various segments to have something for everybody.
Oh, that's
This is
good.
a little off topic, but I read a lot of storybooks and watch a lot of movies. Did you have trouble? Actually, I've been watching Queen Sugar. I don't know if you guys watch Queen Sugar, but
Yeah.
they basically took over. They had a lot of trouble taking over, like basically the only black land left in their state or where they live. And so when you were talking, I'm wondering, like, did you have any problems when you decided to go in with this mission? Like, I'm gonna take like ownership of my land and sell it and make profit and put it back in the black community. Did you have any like pushback from other people who were there prior?
Definitely.
Oh.
There's a, I dare not go too low. I can tell you, I'm, I'm not that old, but I got lots of great hairs.
Right,
I really do. And it's the cost of the difficulties of a mission. I don't
right.
think
Yeah.
there's a day where I wake up that I'm just celebrating what Alaffia does. You wake up and you deal with crisis, you deal
Yeah.
with
Yep.
extreme difficulties. But you know, even to start the cooperative, what we call that, the cooperative in Alaffia village, to these concepts, which is essentially let's come together, let's use our traditional knowledge, let's use our resources to empower ourselves.
Right,
Mhm.
And you know, nobody believed me.
right.
It was about 17 women. I said, let's give it a try, this young boy, to do something. Because we
That's
wanted to have, you know, Togo has about 40 different ethnic groups, and for me, it was important at least 70% of these ethnic groups need to be inclusive within the foundation of Halabia. So it was quite, the community now won that.
Yeah.
They didn't have faith at all that this could work. So and then also think about what Latia trying to do.
mhm.
We have to be ethical not only in our ingredients, but how fair trade prices for the shea nuts and so forth. So that means essentially you're raising the local prices for the competitors, right? Because the
Mm,
competitors want to buy shea nut from an African woman for nothing to keep them
right.
Yeah.
poor. So if you're going to offer more, then the community said, well, I guess we can ask for more. So the folks, the competitors don't necessarily like that, and I can tell you, uh, focus on women initiatives is considered by the Togolese government as a political action. But I have no
Oh wow.
desire for any political action. To me, it's just the right thing to do for the community. So you do get pressure and challenges and roadblocks, let alone here in America.
Yeah.
How it's not that you can just make a product and all of a sudden you can go put it on the shelf or just go find Amazon.
Right.
The gates are closed everywhere you go, and
Yeah,
you have.
and your products are clean at that, which means you have
Right.
another layer because I've seen this in Whole Foods, I've seen it in Sprouts, in the places that like you have to have very clean ingredients. So that's an additional step.
Thank you. We have to. Yes, there's certainly a pushback and difficulties, but um, it shouldn't have to be easy to do. These, I mean, to be honest with you, I think of Alaffia as a form of a revolution. That
Mm.
I don't think of it here as a business or
Mhm.
something that I'm going to make money. I don't feel and see that way at all. I say it's a form of change, right? Is how do we force change?
Right.
Yes. So it
Hmm.
what you guys are doing with Alavia is so aspiring. Besides people buying products, what else can we do to get involved with your initiatives?
You're already involved.
I mean, if people are listening and they're like, I want to buy stuff, is there, can they donate? What if they want to give bicycles or if they're interested?
Thank you, Meg. No, of course, you know, buying a Latvia and telling a Latvia about your friends and your family is a big help to us. We can't put funding into marketing. We have to decide, do we give the money to prevent that mother from dying? So we have to be very thoughtful how we allocate our resources. So how do we
Right.
get help? Get word of mouth, friends and family telling each other what Alaffia is, what Alaffia product are, is a way to contribute to our mission. Additionally, of course, direct donation. We do. There's a cost to everything. How much it costs for a child for the bicycles, how much it costs for maternity, and those donations can make through our website. And we have a 501c status for our nonprofit arm that those can go through. So that's another way to be able to support us. But of course, if you're locally, meaning within California and that it's Oregon, in the state of Washington, where it's easy to ship your eyeglasses. We collect reading eyeglasses. We also collect sunglasses, right? The sun is right there by equator in Togo, and the sun can damage your eyes. And reading glasses, because it takes a whole month of salary in Togo to be able to buy the simple reading glasses. And I didn't say that earlier, but we have distributed more than 30,000 reading glasses in
Oh
Togo.
wow.
So you can ship it to us. That's another way. So those are all the different ways that we can continue this mission together.
Okay.
Great. So this is a parent show. So what do your daughters think of Alafia? Do they use the products? Do they think you're cool? They think you're a cool dad?
I do yeah, I don't know, I don't think they think that I need to loosen up a little bit. I don't I bought a couple months ago. I bought I would call Converse, those
Oh,
Converse
the
shoes.
shoe.
So they
Yeah.
approve of that. It's like, yeah, you're learning the culture here a little bit. So but I think what Alafia, not only one thing my daughters think about, but how is Alafia um, influencing their life? And both of my daughters want to serve humanity. It doesn't
That's
have to be in
good.
Africa. I think that's kind of how to summarize what they think of Alafia, and of course, clearly, these part of them, right? I'm from Togo, and Alafia is part Togo.
Hmm.
So I think it's a good thing. But on another side of things, I was in Texas with Yemi sitting here, and our friends asked the same question, and she told him in some ways like Alaffia took our fathers away from us. Uh,
Oh,
so that he kind of
yeah.
there's as you can imagine, yeah, Alaffia,
Yeah.
they're growing up, and to this day, consume a great majority of my time. So it means that you
Yeah.
don't still give that time to the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That,
It's part of it, though. It's part of laying the foundation, for them because they don't have to go through what you went through. And I'm sure when they're older, they'll appreciate it a lot more.
Yes, and all the fabulous hair products that they
Right.
get.
Moisturized skin.
Oh, by the way, so because you speak, because the native language in Togo is French, correct?
yeah, so Togo is one of the official languages, but our
Okay.
native language, we have more than 40 different native languages.
Wow.
Okay, so out of French and the 40 languages, have you taught your daughters any of the languages? Like, are they fluent?
Yeah, they I would say mostly fluent in the Kabuli when they're there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's what we teach them when they were younger, and they go to Togo almost every year,
Oh,
Oh, that's
wow.
except this
good.
year, of course.
Right.
It's important to they have to leave names and all of that.
Oh, I love that. See, because my son, he's a quarter Korean and half Dominican, and so in the island of Dominica, they speak French Creole. So my mother in law lives with us, and I'm like, we have to teach him French Creole. My mom is Korean, so I was like, we have to teach him Korean. So now he can say
Oh,
like his
wow.
body parts in 3 languages. So I'm like, okay, how do we keep this going so that you can just like, how do you? So did you just talk to your daughters in different languages all the time so that they could pick it up?
Yeah, well, primarily my native language of Kabuli. When they were
Okay.
kids, that's pretty much the only language I spoke to them on, and also because they get to go home with us, because
Yeah.
they given that Lafayette is back in Togo, so they get to be with other siblings and that they can even practice and speak more and continue to learn the culture.
Okay. Oh, that's
I have
good.
one more question. Megan, you might have to help me with this. At the dinner we were at, you were giving a speech, and you said something about uh, sort of bridging the gap between Africans and African Americans. Megan, how did he say it?
I forgot what you said, but you were saying the importance of like we can't move forward until we bridge that gap and that divide. Do you remember that conversation?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us so
Okay. So,
our
like, what does
listeners and
that
our
look
viewers.
like? Yeah. Yeah.
I I think you see what Meg was alluding to. She probably alluded maybe I have too many few glasses of wine. Maybe I don't remember.
You good. You
I
good.
thought it
Yes,
was
what tell us
important. I
about
thought it
that
was
cuz
important. Yeah.
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 Well, I mean, I think that's the basis of it, right? If just step back, not that long ago, back in 50s and 60s, with
Mhm.
the civil rights movement here in America.
Right.
Either from Martin Luther King to Malcolm X to Rosa Parks, any of those leaders, they always talk about Africa too, and some will argue is the movement for the Black liberty in America that have contributed to the decolonization of the African countries. Because it wasn't until the 1960s, 50s, and 60s that we gained most of our independence from the European countries. So
Right.
we're linked, you see.
Right.
Mhm.
And I think what has been happening is that there has been a systematic uh, division. Right? There's been you all Africans, and this is what you done wrong, and you all are Black American here because it benefit the overall system. And so
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that because there's a reason why there will be a systematic division, right? Right now, when we look who is investing in Africa, it's not Black
Yeah.
Americans that are investing in Africa. Why
Right.
is other folks investing in Africa and not Black American investing in Africa? It's because we have a division, and how do we benefit each other? It goes back to the economic state within the home. So what I'm trying to say is that we need to come together and not seeing so much of our differences for even for psychological and healing reasons because we're
Yep.
one, right? And
Yep.
and by merging back, it will create the foundation of sharing our culture. But most importantly, it will give us the reason why we should invest in each other.
Hmm.
And until we can invest in each other, we can rise. You see, because
Yeah.
see, within 50 years, half of the world's labor will be provided by Africa.
Hmm.
And so who's going to benefit from that? And if we're not careful, it will lead to take advantage of people again, as we see today. So I know that
Yeah.
these big picture thing, but in some ways, I'm simply trying to say that our destinies are bound together when we look historically, and if we've been systematically divided, then we have to systematically come back together, and it isn't take effort.
What are tangible ways for African Americans to do that?
It's very simple ways, I think. Uh, One is that we need to visit each other a little bit more.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, I really do. We need to visit each other a little bit more because, and for most Africans, it's not as easy to really come to America, but it's a lot easier for African Americans to go to Africa.
Right.
Absolutely.
Uh, so I think we need to start there, visiting more, and then if you have an African neighbor, talk to them, right?
Right.
Sit down because again, in our head, we're told that we're different, uh,
Yeah.
and that I think is to me those would be the simplest things to start with, and when we start seeing those commonalities, then we can start building the bridge.
Right.
And if any of our brothers and sisters out there listen right now that have some money that want to invest, I would say uh, trying to look into investing in Africa. Of course, we can say, yeah, we need to invest in our Black communities here too. Yes, we do, but our communities need those investment. I'm only saying that because there's money to be made within Africa. We talk about poverty all the time. We don't talk about opportunities, and I think Black
Yeah.
people should be benefiting from that.
You need to
Yeah.
share off air with us how we can make money in Africa. Because
Girl, Africa is rich in resources. You see, these
oh, for
colonizers have been
sure.
trying to take over these resources since the last 3, 4, 500 years from Africa.
Point me.
But it is rich. It's rich in resources. So we need to get into that for sure.
Yes.
And Marisa and I are like we're trying to do a
Oh
mommy
yeah.
trip. And so I'm thinking like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
you know what? Because we're like, I really was like, yo, we need to do something that's like international, like a whole mommy vacation. I am down. We're gonna go to Togo, honey. We're gonna put that on the
We can
list.
go Burkina Faso. We can go to
Ghana.
Ghana. If you come to West Africa,
My 21 and me says Ghana, so I really want to go to Ghana.
no, I'll be more than
Yeah,
more than happy. And I think again, you're asking what can you do? That is something tangible to do,
Right.
right? To
yeah,
take the lead, invite friends
True.
to come with you, do a mommy trip to see other
Yeah.
mommies, to see what other moms
there
are
we
doing.
go. We
Yes.
going to app
Ooh.
2021. Mama needs a break is in Africa. Let's go.
I'll be hauling all the bags. I'll be the bag carrier.
We'll come by there for sure, for sure. So, tell us what is I know you have a lot going on. What's next for you personally, and then professionally with Alaffia?
My personally for me, I think is really to get what I do to me is personal. Is to
Yeah,
continue carry on that mission. To be honest with you, because you know I have now come to believe that it is possible to save a human life. It's possible to prevent our baby from dying. And so when you can see that, and you can see a school where the children are going to school and graduating, you can't help but to continue. So for me personally, is to continue that, and by expanding Alaffia, because the more Alaffia expands, the more we expand those programs. But additionally, coming next year, we are engaging directly with Sister Song to contribute to maternal health for Black women in America as well. So we're expanding our maternal health not only from Africa but also for our communities, because our communities here do face some similarity in some ways.
Absolutely.
So that's next for us, and so we can begin that program in January. And
can you make cleaning products so I can like spend all my money with you, like household cleaning detergent?
It's funny that you say that. It is in our plan actually. We have that good soap line.
Yeah.
So because good soap is really more zero waste kind of initiative, and so we have a plan. Maybe I can tell you all of it right now, but
okay, cleaning products.
Yeah, it's coming. Very soon you can have your shea butter, your shampoos. What you do your laundry, all of it will be. You can have your African home for sure.
Oh yes, we like that. And then that's awesome, especially the maternal care part that you said about, with it happening in America. Obviously, it's not as I don't think our numbers are what you were saying it is in Togo, but for America to be at a developed, first world country, to have this high mortality rate for Black women having children is insane. So the fact that you guys are helping with that in 2021 is huge.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Big initiative.
Thank you. Again, all our communities to me, I see us as one, and that's one way to continue building those bridges. But in immediate terms, within the next 2 months, we're expanding our authentic African black soap line to a full-on hair care line, more the treatment based. So we'll be launching some of that fairly soon.
Ooh, we gotta get some of that.
I know, because we like the black soap products. All right. Before we get out of here, we like to leave everybody with some words of encouragement. We call this section of our show, I'm fine, because a lot of times when people ask us how we feel, we say, I'm fine, but you're really not. So this is our word for today. This quote comes from the makeup mogul Estee Lauder. No one ever became a success without taking chances. One must be able to recognize the moment and seize it without delay. And that is really big because, of course, just like you, Olowo-n'djo, you took a chance, and now your chance has not only benefited you, but an entire nation of women and their families for generations to come. So take your chances, everyone.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
Yes. All right. So last thing, you guys, we told you at the beginning of the show that we have a discount code for you. If you want to buy some Alaffia products, which we suggest you do, we have a discount code for you, 15% off. Just go to Alaffia.com and type in MNAB15. That's Mommy Needs a Break, in case you're wondering what the letters are. MNAB15 at checkout and get your 15% off.
Yes, it's available only for a limited time, so don't forget to use it. We've also tried a bunch of products from Alaffia, so we will be doing a review video on the baby line. Yes.
Which I love. And by the way, this bubble bath.
Oh, I love the bubble bath.
I'm going to show y'all. Yes. Like my son, he was just he wants to use this now. He's like always wanting to get in the bath because he's like, bubble. So yes, great products. Thank you guys for taking a break with us here on Mommy Needs a Break. We hope that you'll take a break with us again next week because we've got many upcoming shows with great mommy and daddy guests. So please follow our guests. Where can they find you on social media and the internet?
Just on Alaffia.com or on Instagram, just Olowo-n'djo, Olowo-n'djo.
Okay. I'm Megan Thomas at Meg Scoop everywhere. And for exclusive footage and giveaways, be sure to click our Patreon link in the description and become patron. Support us. We a small Black business too.
And I'm Marisa. Make sure to follow me as she is Marisa J. Follow Mommy Needs a Break at MNAB Podcast all over the internet. And make sure to visit our website at mnabpodcast.com. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you.